Thanks for joining me on today's episode of Play With It with Cass Allen. We've been talking about family, and today we're talking about elders. Um, there are a couple of ways the word is used. Elder to relate to an elder brother or sister, as an adjective or like a noun. And that's the context we're going with. Elders who represent seniority, leadership, command respect. They may help to lead a village, a tribe, a home, a community, any type of setting where people form together and some type of mentorship is offered from someone older than you. As a child, these people are generally pretty much all of the adults around us. Well, I won't say we always. I know I often heard respect your elders when I was a kid. Respect elders, your aunties, your uncles, anybody older than you, your mother and father's peers. In the reference of family, the elders include the matriarch and the patriarch of the family. The seniors, the grandparents, the great uncles, people with the experience beyond measure. These are the people in your community who have raised you and your ancestors, helped to have an influence on your parents, your aunts and uncles, generally. Usually the people that provide the wisdom and sense to the family when fiascos jump off. The person of reason, the person who keeps the family together, maintains the lineage traditions, make sure the recipes are handed down. Certain things that relate to the family are handed down, whether it's an activity or some type of event that takes place, the reunions. They basically maintain the lineage traditions. And not only that, but help to guide the flock, by setting these things in motion relative to a family. It's basically like wearing the family t-shirt, the things that set you apart as a family, the influences that come from older people in the family who are basically planting the seeds, and the young ones are the leaves. You see what these seeds have grown. The elders are the ones that you go to when you don't know what to do. Those are the ones who get you out of trouble when you think it's all over. The elders give you advice you may have never heard, or they come up with sayings that seem to make no sense until you're of age or in an event where suddenly everything clicks. Uh, Unfortunately, we're living in a time where elders don't get the automatic respect as they move up the ladder, of seniority. There was a time where you bowed, you respected. The elders could, call out anything that was going on. You went to them for advice, made sure they were unharmed. They received gifts, respect. Um, I've seen a lot of instances, as I'm sure many of you, where those things no longer lay seed. Once you hit a certain age, in many communities, at least in America, and more than respect, you're discarded, neglected, abused. Um, we all read articles in the paper, I'm sure, and see the stories on the news. This elderly person was neglected, um, has 8 children, and none of them visit him or her. This elderly person is being abused that has worked their entire life, put in 40, 50 years of work and saved properly and is now paying for healthcare service where someone is coming into the home and abusing the person, pushing the person around, threatening the person, stealing the person's money. You work your whole life to make sure you're going to be okay so that you can go into a place where elders are treated with respect, only to get the complete opposite. You have people cursing out elderly for no reason due to misunderstandings. People half your age want to fight you like you the same damn age. Twice your muscle and twice your speed, but they want to kick you in the face on the street because you rolled your eyes because something upset you. Um, you have elderly that are just being beat up for walking on the street because they look like a easy target to someone who wants to rob someone. or have sexual intercourse with someone against their will that they believe won't be able to fight back due to wear and tear of the body because of age. Um, the respect. Um, Even as I age, I notice in phone calls where no one sees you, once the birth date come out, a certain type of behavior comes out of some people, almost like you might be slow in a dodo since you're in a certain age category. Whereas when people see me in person, they demand things of me not demanded of my age group because they think I'm much younger to look at and think therefore I must have the propensity to do XYZ, which I retired from, during year 1, 2, 3, if you know what I mean. Um, And let's take this where it belongs in the family domain. You've heard all of this that I just mentioned, all these references to elders and things people to do to harm them, things elders do for families and communities to keep that glue together. It's important to not only not neglect the elderly, but seek them out and learn the stories, learn the things that makes your family a family. Learn the ties that bind. Learn the things that tear you apart or have torn you apart. Maybe you can heal some things through some of these stories. A lot of us think we know every fucking thing. I've been in stages in my life where I own it. Where, like, if I thought I knew everything then, and I think I'm like 10 times wiser now, then what was I then? We all think well, I won't say we all, a lot of us think we're the epicenter of shit at some points in our life where we're really not. And we don't necessarily take advantage of the wise ones around us to help us avoid situations. Instead, we roll our eyes and we go, "You don't know what you're talking about, you old bastard." Or, she doesn't know what she's talking about. That shit is 40 years old. Okay. Not everything that's old is passe though. Sometimes age is about experience and allowing you to avert some things you really don't need to see. You don't need to learn everything. That's another line that is often used, let people learn on their own. And to some degree, I completely agree with that because from that comes growth. Just like we fell when we were children, in order for us to understand how to walk, so we don't fall, we need to do the same thing as adults. Sometimes you got to get out there and you got to fly on your own. But have the elderly sitting around, almost like you're flying a plane, but you got wingmen everywhere. People who can help you if you get off course insofar as the whole plane starts going down. But take advantage of elders while they are here before they become your ancestors. And now you out there, making all kinds of shrines to them, trying to get information that you didn't seek while they were here. Because you were so busy acting like you knew every fucking thing. Instead of saying, "Mama, what was it like during your time to experience such and such?" Learn what you can from that shit and apply it to your life. Bring it into your generation because seeds made you. Let's not remember your ancestors are other seeds on a tree. They're part of the bark for you, but they're the seeds of someone else's tree. It all trickles down and whatever's inside of you already is already a culmination of everybody who's fucked to get you here. Your parents fucked, your parents' parents fucked, their parents fucked. It goes way back. It really ain't about you. You are a culmination of all of them. So ask yourself, like, learn them so you can learn some things about yourself. I've met people who couldn't stand their parents, so they claimed, didn't have, barely had relationships with their parents, but were a spitting image of them. and behaviors and actions without even having those connections to emulate them. So there's something to be said for everything you do ain't just you, you know. I believe that's a combination of free will, personality, DNA, the time you were born, etc. So your parents are you, whether you like it or not, because they are the two that made your ass. That's who you are, your parents. You are your parents. So it would behoove you to learn something about them. It would behoove you to show them some respect if they're not out there like and have you in an abusive situation or a poor, neglectful situation. The least you can do, whether you like all of their rules or not, is show them some respect. And not just them, and not just as a child, but as an adult. The people around you are paving the way for you, whether you like it or not. There was a time, more than likely, whatever race you're in, it was under some type of oppression at some point in history. If you are so into race, and people paved the way for you, whether you are multiracial or not, your bloodline. There are people who have paved the way for you to be here, cleared grass so that you could walk. So the least you can do is show some fucking respect when you walk down the street and see people with canes, people that can't bend their fingers, they can't straighten their legs, they can't stand up straight anymore from all the hard fucking work they've done on this planet. Maybe that man bending over his back was laying brick on the very school you went to. Maybe that lady that fingers are trembling actually did your mother's hair. Like, the people you passing every day, you all connected somehow because we all connected. I'm not going to start on that. But bottom line is, your elders have usually paved the way. I tell people straightforward, with pride and also with a certain type of 10 toes deep. I've worked 40 years over plus, and paid my taxes. 40 years plus. You're not going to talk to me like I'm some dog in the street asking for a handout no matter what I'm going through. If you feel you can't show me respect for the work I've done, then fuck you too. This is not, you won't be abusing anybody over here. You won't be neglecting anybody over here because I don't need you, first of all. And you won't be committing any type of harms that I can protect myself from. I take that seriously. I'm proud that I'm of an age where I consider myself to an elder to people, that I've lived long enough to be of service in that way to younger generations, that I can provide some wisdom in some areas and some sense. I have averted family fiascos because I've grown. There was a time where I was the one that had to stay out of them. Now I can help others stay out of them. I go up and down with whether or not I want to play the role of keeping the family together. But in my heart, I'm always praying for it. Sometimes my actions speak louder than my words. There's some things I've learned from my mother and my father and my grandmothers that I try to keep alive, and usually by way of recipes. Some things have been just things the way they did them, or sayings that they used to carry. I carry them too, you know. And it's so important to try not to harm. There are seniors in your own family that you're not going to like, and I know I have some. There are people that you're not going to want to fuck with that are older than you, twice older than you, three times older than you. I know I have some. There are people in your life where you're going to be like, oh, it's best we stay apart. So I don't disrespect you. So I don't go ape on you. So I don't treat you like a nigga in the street. You know, we're going to have situations like that too. If you can't respect them, stay away from them, right? There's a time. where you look up and you are that person. So let's hope that when your time comes, whatever's paid forward to you comes in a good way, because you're going to get what's due. We all get what's due. All of us. I am never too delirious to admit I get what's due to me just like everybody else. It's based on the seeds we plant. All my seeds have not been the best seeds. I've had some rotten seeds too. I've reaped some horrible things that I've sown. As with many of us, that's called making mistakes. But one thing in all of that I try to do is respect the people who've come before me. Respect their lives, the choices they've made, the stories they want to share with us and impart with us. If somebody wants to stop and even take the time to share some parts of their life that they think might help you and yours, should feel like an honor. Instead, some of you get a fucking attitude and you don't want to be bothered and you don't want to hear it. You don't want to hear it. What don't you want to fucking hear? And you go slam your door and go listen to some bullshit. When you had a real live person standing there that wanted to tell you something to maybe help you, not control you, maybe help you. I feel sorry for the people. I won't say I feel sorry because I don't really like those words. I pray for people who have had those opportunities and lost them. I've seen those with my own eyes too. I should have, could have, should have, would have. It's too late. Don't be that case of too late. And with that, this has been Cass Allen on Play With It. Have a good day and have a good night.